A city official shut down the only thing that made my dying daughter smile. So I got 200 people to help me do something about it. My daughter Selena was diagnosed with leukemia 3 days after her 6th birthday. For 8 months, our life became hospitals and waiting rooms and chemo and watching her get smaller every week. But every Tuesday and Thursday, on our way to treatment, we'd pass the same corner on Ryman Street. An elderly man in a worn gray coat playing violin like the whole world was listening. The first time Selena heard him, she made me stop the car. She rolled down the window and just listened, eyes closed, faintest smile on her face. It was the first time she'd smiled in 3 weeks. After that, it became our ritual. Every treatment day, we'd stop 5 minutes, sometimes 10. She'd close her eyes and disappear into the sound. I never learned his name, never spoke to him, just watched my daughter find peace in the music. Then one Tuesday, he wasn't there. Selena looked at the empty corner, then at me. "Where's the violin man, Daddy?" she said with tears in her eyes. I didn't know. I drove past that corner every day for a week, nothing. Finally, I asked the woman at the flower shop nearby. She told me the city shut him down. Noise complaints, no permit. Some official had been cracking down on street performers all month. I tracked down his address through the shop owner. Small apartment above a laundromat. His name was Arthur Brennan, 74 years old, a widower. When he opened the door, he looked like a man who'd lost something he couldn't name. I told him about Selena, about her cancer, about how his music was the only thing that made her smile anymore. He started crying before I finished. "My wife had cancer," he said. "I started playing on that corner the week after she passed, 11 years now. It was the only thing that helped." He tried to fight the citation, but the city official wouldn't budge. A man named Douglas Pratt, head of municipal code enforcement. I called Pratt's office the next morning, got transferred 3 times before reaching him, explained everything, told him about Selena, about the children's hospital 2 blocks away, about what the music meant to families like mine. He cut me off. "Sir, the law is the law. Your daughter's medical situation, while unfortunate, doesn't change city ordinance. Unfortunate. My daughter was dying, and he called it unfortunate." I asked about an appeal process. He said 4 to 6 months. Selena's doctor said she had maybe 3. I hung up, sat in my car in the hospital parking lot, and for the first time since her diagnosis, I broke down completely. That night, she asked about the violin man again. "Christmas is coming," she said. "Maybe he could play Christmas songs." She fell asleep holding my hand. I stayed up all night thinking. The next morning, I went back to Arthur's apartment. "What if you played inside the hospital? A Christmas performance for the kids in the pediatric wing. They can't shut you down if you're invited." His eyes lit up. "I'd play for free. I'd play every day if they'd let me." I spent 2 weeks making calls. The hospital was hesitant at first. Liability concerns, infection protocols, but I kept pushing. I told them about Selena, about Arthur, about what music could do for kids who'd forgotten how to smile. Finally, they said yes. December 23rd. The pediatric wing was decorated with paper snowflakes and string lights. Every kid who could move was there. The ones who couldn't had their doors propped open. Arthur walked in wearing a clean black suit. His violin case looked older than he was. Selena was in the front row, bald head, thin arms, but her eyes were bright. "This is for all of you," Arthur said, "but especially for a little girl who taught me that music still matters." He lifted his bow. Then the doors swung open. Douglas Pratt walked in with 2 security guards behind him. "This man doesn't have a permit to perform," he announced. "This event is unauthorized and needs to stop immediately." The room went silent. Selena's face crumbled. She looked at me with tears forming. I stood up, but before I could speak, a nurse stepped forward. "These children are dying," she said. "And you want to take away their Christmas concert?" Then a doctor stood, then a parent, then another, then another. The hospital CEO pushed through the crowd. "Mr. Pratt, this performance was authorized by me personally. I suggest you leave now." Pratt looked around the room. Dozens of faces staring back at him. Parents, nurses, sick children in wheelchairs. He turned and walked out without another word. Arthur lifted his violin, looked at Selena. She smiled through her tears. Then he started to play. Silent Night first. Kids humming along, parents crying, nurses wiping their eyes. Arthur played for 90 minutes. Nobody stopped him. When he finished, he handed Selena a small wooden violin ornament, hand-carved, beautiful. "My wife made it," he said. "I want you to have it." That night, she slept with it in her palm. It was the best day we'd had in 8 months. Selena died 7 weeks later. Arthur played at her funeral. The same song from the hospital, the one I didn't recognize. Afterward, he told me the name. "It's called For Grace. I wrote it for my wife." He paused, looked at the small casket. "Now it's for both of them."